he talked about all these leadership skill sets and said, hey, throw it all the way. Just remember rule number 13, when placed in command, take charge. And rule number 14, always do what's right.
Matt Woolley Podcast.
So our guest today is Matt Loveless.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you for joining us.
My pleasure, brother. Thank you for being here.
It's just open format.
Yes.
Friends talking friends, having a good time.
I love it, man.
But I do like to let our listeners know a little bit about Mr. Matt. So let me see if I am missing anything here. So who is Matt Loveless? You're a Christian, husband and father. You were senior director at Acosta, business development at Anderson Merchandisers. You were a principal at Novus Consulting, and you also were at Walmart as a store director, regional personal manager, senior buyer of oral care, senior director of merch execution, director of strategy and innovation, and now
at the old Legacy.
You're a business leader at Legacy Retail.
Yes, sir. Been blessed. It's been a great education. Yes, sir.
All right, so where did you grow up?
Yes, grew up in St. Louis, Missouri, big Cardinal fan.
Oh, nice.
And then moved to Columbia, Missouri when I was in the 8th grade, graduated high school at Columbia Hickman, went to undergrad at, I call it SMSU in Springfield, Southwest Missouri State, now Missouri State, but wonderful time there. And then graduated on a Friday and came to work at Walmart on a Monday.
Really?
My roommate, Chip Stacy, in college had said, hey, you heard anything about Walmart? And was studying it in some marketing and business classes and came to work for Walmart. Wanted to be a sports broadcaster, and that kind of...
Oh, I could totally see that.
Yay, thank you.
Totally see that.
Maybe in the future, Lord willing, but would love to maybe pursue that, but just always wanted to kind of work for a big company, grow, learn, and... Truly, Matt, just love to serve others.
So I don't want to date you too hard, but when did you start in Walmart? What year was it?
1990.
1990?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Many moons ago.
Yeah, many moons. So you saw a lot of changes in Walmart.
A lot of changes. Wonderful company. A lot of great leaders. Had the opportunity to be in stores, be in the home office. Was blessed to run 3 great supercenters. The first one was 1011 in Rincon, Georgia, right outside of Savannah, Georgia. Tremendous associates there, work ethic. We had a lot of folks, Matt, that would move from New York or the East Coast down to Savannah. Then ran Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, store 574. Right off the beach.
I love how you remember the story now.
Never wanted to leave, and then got a call from Tom Coughlin saying, hey, we'd like for you to come run store 1. We've had a lot of people apply, but would like for you to... And I told him no.
Did you really?
I said, no, we're not moving. He said, I'll give you a week, and then I'll call you back. And you really didn't say no to Tom back then, but we had a great church, great beach business, learned a ton from the associates there. Stayed there for about 18 months, did take the call, and came back home to run store 1 in Rogers, which was phenomenal. In fact, I got to share real quick, but yesterday, and it really got emotional about this, Matt, but a gentleman named Harold, he was our paint department manager at store 1, and I was there 7 years, ran that store. But back in his day, he ran 2 Ben Franklins, one in Lebanon, Missouri, Columbia, Missouri. Then he came to work for Walmart, 52-year Walmart associate.
Oh, wow.
Just retired. He's 80 years old. He looks like he's 60. But the thing I loved about Harold, and had a chance to visit with him and his church yesterday just for a lunch, but servant, passionate, curious as a child, loved to serve others. And I remember he's like Popeye, man. He just would carry those 5-gallon buckets of paint, and everybody loves Harold. And he's still going and serving and more busier and livelier today than he probably was with Walmart, but 52 years at one company.
Wow,
and
that's unheard of this day and time.
Love the guy.
That's great.
Call out to him. He's been a blessing.
That's huge. I love that I've had a few conversations with you, obviously, but I'm picking up that you remember the fine details for a very long time. Does it go in the lockbox and stay in the lockbox?
It does. As we get older, the file gets a little fuzzier, but maybe take a little time to get there. Yes, sir. But it's been fun. Yeah. And the store numbers and the people. And, it's a people business.
So I mean, you had no idea that you were getting into what you were getting into with Walmart. You just kind of followed the flow, and the path just kind of came to you?
Yes, it kind of came to me. I mean, really, truly was in a management trainee position out of college, and then went into the buyer trainee position. Went out to store 1175 Flagstaff, Arizona, and trained there with Del Sloneker as a store manager. And now Del today has since retired, but he and Scott McCall, it's really cool, Matt. Both of them are teaching and training core leadership skills. They're bringing in every store manager and every market manager in the company to Bentonville and looking at strong leadership qualities, how they can get better, and culture. And I think that's fantastic.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's wonderful.
So you obviously got a lot of stories.
Ton.
Why don't you tell me some of your favorites?
I think, one of the favorite was, Tom Coughlin. I first day on the job with him, he said, "Hey, I've been watching you. I like your style. Come work for me." And I'm like, what am I going to do? He's like, "No, I want to come work for me. I'd like to train you." And I said, "Okay." The first day on the job, he had boots on. This was early 90s, and he pulls out this wad of cash out of his boot and said, "Here, I'm going to go over to the Children's Miracle Network dunk tank, and if you wouldn't mind, just hold this, and here's my boots. I'm going to go, put some shorts on in this other restroom, and then I'm going to the dunk tank, and then just, wait around, and I'll catch up with you." Well, he did, and, raised a lot of money for CMN at the time. A lot of associates were throwing the fastball, and he was going down, big old Tom. Came back, and he said, "Is it all there?" And I said, "Yes, sir." And he said, "Did you count it?" And I said, "Yes." He goes, "How much is there?" And I said, $6,754, all cash. He goes, "Did you take anything?" And I said, "No." And he said, "You're going to do just fine." And so that was a story that, we all want to trust people, obviously right out of the gate, but a good one.
Let me stop right there. So that was definitely an intentional test.
Absolutely. Yes. If you look at big
what would you said if what would you hang on one second, what would you said if you hadn't have counted the cash?
I often wondered that, as a curious leader and what he would have said, but I often wondered that. But I saw him, put his arm around store managers and travel. He cared immensely. Yes.
I've never had the privilege of obviously meeting him, but I've heard so many wonderful stories about the man.
Tremendous leader. I look at Rule 13, Rule 14. We had Norman Schwarzkopf come to a year beginning meeting and talked about the great leadership skills.
Elaborate on that.
He talked about all these leadership skill sets and said, "Hey, throw it all the way. Just remember rule number 13, when placed in command, take charge. And rule number 14, always do what's right." And I think if you look at those two leadership skill sets for anything, for entrepreneurials, for leaders of stores, coaches, school districts, whatever it is, that pretty much is spot on. When placed in command, take charge and always do what's right. We have all these decisions we want to make every day, thousands of them, and people be courageous, step up, lead, and always do what's right. And when you fail, hey, get up, dust yourself off, learn from the failure, and move forward. And go take 10 people and mentor them and develop them. That's what I love in this life, Matt, is helping others, see people succeed, giving them the ball. I'm a coach's kid. My dad coached high school basketball for 30 years, so I'm under that DNA of serving, leading, coaching, helping. and love to see folks maximize their potential. There's no greater, I think, joy for me personally than see people do things they never thought they would be able to do.
It's amazing. So would you say you've been blessed with good mentors?
Oh, man, blessed with phenomenal mentors from John Butler, Tom Coughlin, Doug McMillan, being a friend. I met him on the basketball court in the early 90s.
Is that right?
Playing ball at his house with his dad and other great folks.
That's awesome.
Look at Bobby Martin. Ton of great mentors through the years. My dad, I mean, my hero, he passed away 5 years ago. So, for me personally, this last 5 years have been a season of loss. I mean, lost my dad, lost a job, had a divorce after 29 years. It was very, very tough, but blessed with 3 kids. And then, we're all going to have tough times. I mean, the good book and the good Lord teaches us in this world we will have trouble, but it's how we bounce back, how we learn from it, and how we trust in Him and fully give our lives away in serving others.
So is the Matt of today, does he handle problems differently of the Matt of 20 years ago, 5 years ago?
I would say yes. I'm still under construction like we all are, but sometimes it takes a lot of knocks on the head, knock us down to learn, but absolutely more thoughtful, more calm, more at peace. Feel very blessed and humbled, and a lot more joy than I've ever had.
I will say this about you. So from the minute that I met you, I was like, I even said this because the first time obviously we met was as a meeting with Legacy Design.
Right.
I had the privilege of meeting the wonderful people at Legacy. Great organization, by the way. Quick plug. For Legacy, great group.
Thank you.
Truly, just wonderful people there. But
they are.
The first thing that I noticed right out of the hat was you've got a different energy level than a lot of people that I see, and you illuminate so much positivity, and literally so much so until I had and I'm not going to say that I didn't buy into it, but I literally said right after we met, I was like, either that is the most positive guy I know, or he's the best actor I know. And what was funny was after talking with you a few times, and just even in the emails, you just have such a profound positivity. So kudos to you for that. And especially in an industry that it kicks, it hits, and it drags you. You can drag you down.
Sure.
So how does Mr. Matt handle red flag pops up today? Everybody red flag, danger, Will Robinson.
Yes, that's it.
What's the first thing Matt does?
I think learn a great question, Matt, and thank you. Pause and kind of step back. I'm a fixer. Want to fix it right. Learning to not be a people pleaser but step back, give it some thought. And I really believe we all know what the right thing is to do. Maybe it's linking up with another leader, another person, or a trusted confidant within our network, but just really try to actively listen what's going on and then try to do what's right for the person, for the situation, for the client, for the customer. And I think we all know what's right in our hearts and truly try to actively listen and then act. But maybe we don't need to act. Sometimes we need to let the dust settle, so to speak, and maybe step back and ponder and give it some thought. And, I've learned probably through the training of, instead of ready, aim, fire, ready, aim. And, you learn from that. So I've learned, and I've made a ton of mistakes and fell and fumbled, but you learn from those. And I think that's thought leadership, is truly give it some thought. We're all in this fast-paced environment, right?
Absolutely.
On the phone, emails, whatever it is, get them an answer.
Get it done, yeah. Sometimes
you just got to pause and get a breath and take that half-day lunch, half-day, but, get in the rhythm. Still have a high sense of urgency, but give a little bit more thought to it. Yes, sir.
That's excellent, and I assume that's great advice to everyone here. I assume that's how you operate your team as well.
Yes, try to have each individual on the team has their great skill sets. It's kind of like raising kids, right? But you got to know the bents of what makes them motivated, whether it's money or recognition, whatever that is. But yeah, try to have us truly try to put ourselves in. If you're dealing with Walmart replenishment shoes or the merchant shoes, I mean, the buyers today, they got a ton on their plate. I mean, right? A lot of SKUs, 120,000 SKUs in a Walmart store, and creating that modular and creating that story for the customer, and online merchandise now, and even,
that deal with shoe stores.
Exactly. But it's a huge animal, right? So we've got to all work together in merchandising and in retailing. So it's fun, but we learn and we grow.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. Okay, so we've heard about Walmart. Tell me about Legacy right now.
Yeah, Legacy is a wonderful company. Truly, it's the Traverse Group, and J.D. Hayes and Clint Lazenby have developed that company, and it's the people. We're a service company. We're truly a supplier, a vendor of record, but also we're a broker that we serve clients. We're excited about India. Our sweet spot, Matt, would be in the textiles, home division, toys, general merchandise, everything pretty much except fresh and food for now. And we're not involved in apparel, but we're blessed to be selling to Costco, Sam's, Walmart, CVS, Home Depot, Lowe's, and many others. But it's a people business. It's a service business. It's tough, but it's challenging, and it's rewarding. Yeah. And it's cool because they, have done this for about 24 years in downtown Rogers on 2nd Street, and love to serve our clients. And we've got satellite offices across the country and serving Target, one up in Minneapolis and other areas, also in Issaquah for Costco. But, a service business, and it's about the people.
This episode of the podcast is brought to you by Design Steins. Since 2010, Design Steins has assisted brands and suppliers with branding, packaging, displays, engineering, photography, video, and trade shows for retail. Design Steins provides your brands with the retail power to make the sell. Go to designsteins.com, that's DESIGNSTEINS.com, to learn how they can help your brands go next level. Designsteins.com. Your brands, your goals, your success. This podcast is brought to you by George's Majestic Lounge in Fayetteville. George's Majestic Lounge is the longest-running club and live music venue in the state of Arkansas. George's Majestic regularly features national acts and is listed as one of the top 100 greatest American music venues in the United States. If you're looking for a great time in live music, head over to georgesmajesticlounge.com and get your tickets today. George's Majestic Lounge, where live music lives. This podcast brought to you by Accelero. Accelero is a leading provider of cybersecurity and managed IT services in the state of Arkansas. Frustrated with your current IT provider? Let the team at Accelero provide you quicker service, better pricing, and continual support for all your IT needs. Go to Accelero.com, that's XCCELERO.com, and experience secure and seamless IT services for your business.
What's been your greatest professional challenge? I sure that you've got plenty to share.
Oh, man, yeah. One of the biggest challenges was, I think, in running a store was being cannibalized, right? When a store opened up on you in the same town, and we had that in Rogers with Pleasant Grove, and I remember that day we had to shift within the market, but from our store we had to shift about 67 associates that day over to the store, and we were down about 25%, but picking up the morale, right? That we are one company, we're all competitive, but we're one company, one market, one store. That was extremely challenging. But then we came back and really worked on in-stock service and cleanliness. that was the key. And then, as a buyer, had the opportunity to be in oral care and be a merchant of rinse, paste, and brush, and working with great suppliers at J&J, P&G, and also going over to China, going over 4 times, and developing the Equate brand in various categories. And
was that a hard transition from you going from that to a buyer? I mean,
tough transition, but it was a cool aspect, Matt, of having the experience in the store level, and then obviously it's all about that modular, right? And we see that today, but back then we had about 2 modulars a year, and now it's 1. But it was a tough transition in that having a team of people and being on your feet and leading teams overnight and through the day, and then going at a desk, and it's all about the numbers. It's about which is the language of the business, and it's about the relationships with the suppliers. And I had Joe Grady at the time and Scout McCall that said, "Hey, focus on 85% of your business. If you focus on 85% of your business, the rest will take care of itself." And it was interesting. We went through from a challenge.
Was that tried and true?
Absolutely.
Okay.
You bet. And we went through a different piece there with leadership with Walmart of taking the assortment out, and a great lesson for us all. But that was very, very challenging, of looking at items that we had to cut and brands that we had to cut. But you learn from that. And I think Walmart did. I know I sure did as a merchant at that time, but learned that, Walmart has a secret sauce and brands and, Equate, and there's a great mix, right?
Absolutely.
In assortment. But, you learn from that. It was extremely challenging. But I'm just so excited, specifically with Walmart, how well they have done, and the leadership of Doug and the team, and throughout, and the great associates at store level. I think of Harold, yesterday, having the opportunity to visit with him, and folks that can retire. There's a lot of folks that have retired from Walmart and done extremely well. So happy for them, and happy that I had a chance to work for them and learn from them.
Do you have any Mr. Sam stories?
You know what? I met Mr. Sam at a wedding in Springfield, Missouri. I was there with Chip Stacy and Bert Stacy, and Bert's still living, and met him at a wedding. And he was like at the time, the consummate grandfather. He was in his rare form, and had a circle of people all around him. And he was telling football stories that he went to Columbia Hickman and won the state championship at that time. And way back, I think it was 1936. And yeah, he was fantastic to meet, and was such a great motivator, great leader. He cared for people. And I know, and having reread Sam's book, he loved to see people do things they never thought they would be able to do. And that was the time that I met him at a wedding. And of course, when I was in the home office, would see him around. But he was just a great motivator, Matt, that he would go and have a one-on-one visit with people, loved to be in the stores and motivate and come back with great ideas, and was a great item merchant.
All throughout my career, both in banking and in design science, whenever Walmart, especially with some of the old schoolers, you never hear a bad word murmured about him. They say the passion always comes across. He's always a passionate guy.
Yes,
and a guy that was willing to try and retry, and just wanted to see it through, and wanted people to, just like you said, elevate themselves.
You bet.
And we need more of that.
We do
in this world.
We do in this world. We do. Whether business, whatever venue it is, we need more of Mr. Sam. And I would challenge folks out there, if you have not read his book, read it, Made in America. I had the opportunity to speak over at the Sam Walton School of Business for 34 seniors 2 weeks ago.
Oh, wow.
And challenge them to, read that book. Out of 34 kids, 0 had read it. So, I had the chance to motivate them in reading it. And it's a great book for entrepreneurs, to look at that and see the passion of of how to treat others and how he did it. And really, Mr. Sam didn't really have that success till, he was in his 50s.
Yeah. Well, I'd get asked that a lot. One of my mentors, a guy named Patrick Sparrow.
Yeah. Great one.
Great guy. But he can make you laugh and inspire you all at the same time. But he told me one day, I said, Patrick, how did you do it? And he said, man, it only took me 13 years to become an overnight success. Yeah, I was like, okay. But that's the truth. If you actually look at a lot of it, that's one thing that I think that for whatever reason, and that's part of the reason why I'm doing this podcast, is because I'm not articulating well. I'm doing this podcast because I think we need tried and tested people that have been there and done that, speaking truth and honesty in the right influential ways. So,
you bet.
Well, the thing is, this, I won't get on my soapbox, but this day and time, there's a lot of guys that can write a book, and there's a lot of guys that are decent speakers, and that's great. Hey, good for them. But they don't always have the same resume. There's some people out there that just say things that tickle people's ears,
right?
Make them feel good about themselves, but they're not always speaking truth to them. They're just making money off people.
You bet.
And so, and I'm not going to call names, but I think, I know so many wonderful people such as yourself that have such a proven background, that have stories to tell, and that have advice to give. Those are the people we need to be seeking wise counsel from.
Absolutely.
Because they've been there and done that. That is a true influencer.
You bet.
Now, hopefully, if my hope in all of this, hopefully some people will pull wisdom nuggets from this and be able to at least, I'm one of these guys, like, I'll read a book. I like to read most of the time. I like to read. I'm big on business books. If I can just pull 2-3 nuggets from a business book, I think I've won something.
Absolutely.
And so that's my hope for this, is I'm hoping that we have people on that can inspire others to realize that, success doesn't come overnight in most cases. It's a long journey.
It is.
And if you actually study a lot of the greats, a young 20-something-year-old entrepreneur is a rarity. If you're blessed to have that, great. If you're blessed to be, the Mr. Beast of the world, and
right,
that's great. Which he's worked hard for what he's done.
Yeah,
absolutely. But
cool story.
I know so many young people. It's a real cool story. But I know so many young people that stress themselves out, thinking, success. Where's the success? I'm not being successful.
Right.
It's a journey, and then you get into the point of what is true success.
Yes.
What is true success? And so, great segue. What is true success to Matt?
I think, for me, it's pure joy. It's
so. What gives Matt joy?
I think it truly is. Being close to Jesus, serving others, truly family, friends. This life is so short,
But a vapor.
It is so short, and having the chance to meet new people like yourself, people energize me. And if I can help them in any way, getting them a job, connecting people, that brings me joy. Being over serving my mom, who's a widow, my sister, who we're real close, and her nephews, and my brother-in-law, Craig. And, high school sports bring me joy. The Razorbacks bring me joy. But truly, serving others too, that kind of trips my trigger. And, I think of Russ Robertson, a dear friend, a dear mentor. I've known him 34 years, and a great book he wrote, Leading Regular Folks. He's a great leader, but he's so good one-on-one and listening and focusing, and then has had some tough times, and it's just bounced back. And I love the underdogs. I love the sports stories, frankly, of of teams that bounce back and
absolutely
deliver. Yes, sir.
What do you tell somebody that's struggling right now, Matt?
I would tell them, pray, dive into Scripture, the Psalms, the Bible. I would say get up and go serve someone, because truly, when we struggle, we take the eyes off ourselves and we want to help others. I think that's key for all of us in this this world if we would just go out and help one person this week and truly, help them, go encourage somebody. An old folks home or a senior citizens group, go there and talk to people. Go to a coffee shop and have a cup of coffee and meet somebody new. Ton of great books out there, to share. My grandfather could not read. 34 years he put together at Peerless Wire Company in Lafayette, Indiana. But my dad at age 5 would read to him on how to put TVs together. And he would say, Michael, my dad, my grandfather would say, just, show me the picture, but read to me. Well, then Dad went into education, became a coach, principal.
Wow.
So I think from that experience, but...
Was he a patient coach?
He was, yeah.
That initial training probably.
Probably so, yeah. And he could get fired up and chew some tail, right? But yeah, pretty patient, absolutely. And I think of John Wooden, right? A great leader, great patience. But I know there's a lot of people out there struggling. And I think you got to find yourself, find truly who we are, and extrapolate upon those talents and strengths. We all have our opportunities, but just blast through and accentuate the strengths, the God-given abilities that we have, and go with it.
That's awesome.
Yes, sir.
What's the best advice you can offer to our listeners for friends and friendship?
I think God made us we have this connection that we need people, we need friends. And I think in today's world, we're a little insular. We are maybe hesitant, or we're wounded by friends, or we all need each other. And go out, to have a friend is to be a friend, encourage someone. And, I love the power of a cup of coffee. I mean, we could get more done, water and a cup of coffee and visit, but we all need each other. We truly do. And, being ourselves and truly being vulnerable, sharing, hey man, I'm struggling, or I'm struggling with this issue at work or this challenge. What do you think, Matt? And get the perspective of others and flip that around, and man, go serve people. I mean, people, where a lot of us we're in need of each other. Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What about family?
Family's so important. They grow too fast, man. You've got a graduate coming up. Congratulations from Prairie Grove.
Congratulations to you too.
Thank you. Got JT graduating from BHS. But, it's seasons, right? It's seasons of life with kids and family, and folks change, people change, but having Christ at the center and family is so important. And as kids grow, just keep encouraging them. Confidence, give them, spread the confidence and believe in them and have them believe in themselves. And I love family. I do.
Yeah, absolutely. Who's been the most influential person in your life, do you think?
My dad, definitely my dad, and my mom. They've just, Mom had me at 18. And, my sister, family. So, but Mom and Dad have just, have instilled in great work ethic and try to treat others as they want to be treated, and be a student of others and serve others. But have had some great mentors along the way, as we've talked. But I'd say Mom and Dad have, and Dad went to go see the Lord, and Mom's still going. And I said, hey, you're in the fourth quarter. She's only 75, but she may be in the third quarter. But she's serving people at her church and helping others as well. Yes, sir. That's fantastic.
Are they still, are they local? Or are they still
yes, Mom's local, which is good. Lives in Bentonville.
Oh,
and
awesome.
My sister is a teacher in the Bentonville school districts, and also has 3 nephews, three sons. Ben's at U of A, and Noah will graduate from BHS, and Todd is a junior at BHS. And my brother-in-law, Craig, works for Walmart Logistics, so been there about 12 years, and
awesome.
Happy for the Anderson family. Yes, sir. Yes. Absolutely, man.
So what's the best professional advice you can offer to a professional?
Absolutely. I would say truly listen, actively listen to others, be curious, be a student of the game, so to speak, of whatever you're into. Be a student of retail, be a student of banking, whatever you're in, and just accentuate your gifts with humility and confidence. Be hungry, be humble, and go with your gifts and serve others in whatever capacity, whether it's, in food service or whatever you're into. Serve others and help others, and that'll bring you joy.
You keep going back to a servant's heart over and over and over again. So let's talk about that just for a little bit.
Yes, sir.
What kind of difference has God made in Matt's life?
Oh, huge. Was raised Lutheran, went to a parochial school, and then, at the 8th grade, truly gave my life to Christ. And then fast forward, went to church in college.
Mm-hmm.
Actually didn't have a car and walked to church because I wanted to go.
Mm-hmm.
But it was, I think that rhythm and the way we grew up was Christ was at the center, and going to church and the community, that was a big part of our family. And I credit Mom and Dad for the faith. Mom in 1982 in April gave me the Portals of Prayer, which is just a simple little pamphlet and has a story, has 2 scriptures and a daily devotional. Haven't done it every day in 56 years of life, but man, it's been a treasure for me. God's Word's been a treasure. And then just going, as we moved around the country, to various churches and developing a deeper personal relationship with Jesus Christ. And truly the last 5 years, Matt, has been a lot of loss for me, but that truly has driven me to fully trust in Jesus. And through a health scare, should have died, almost died, and had to have a quadruple bypass last June, June 26th. And, I knew going into surgery that, hey, if this is the day I go see the Lord, I'm ready. I had a peace that surpasses all understanding. And I think faith is that constant relationship with Him, and growing in Scripture and having a chance. I love men's ministry and getting around guys and a cup of coffee and talking about God's Word and praying for others. And that brings us joy, So I'm thankful for the tough times. I'm thankful for the peaks and the valleys, but we truly grow in the valleys. That's where we all grow and become better, and I believe closer to Christ.
What do you say to someone right now that doesn't know Jesus Christ?
I would say get to know Him quickly. Before Dad died, I said, Dad, give me one thing that you would want me to learn and focus on. And man, he said, stay close to Jesus, Matt. I mean, emphatically, he said that. And I would tell somebody, read the good book, ask questions, but get to know Jesus Christ as your personal Savior. And it's the best feeling ever.
That's awesome.
Yes, sir.
Man, I couldn't think of a better way to end this podcast.
Thank you, brother.
I want to thank you so much for being on here and being a guest and providing me and our listeners wisdom. Buddy,
thank you for what you're doing. Thanks for the podcast, and thanks for your serving heart, my man. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, buddy.